booties for black girl nerds.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, ladies, for your time. I don't know if while I was getting ready to talk to you, I felt like my computer took a picture of me just for Googling this story. Might be a little paranoid, but I have a healthy dose of paranoia anyway. But congratulations, Tina, on your directorial debut. And
Thank you.
Sydney, I think this is your first out embodying a real life story. So I will begin with you. When you are bringing this real life person's story to life, most actors say, it always begins with the words on the page, but how did your creative process change to make this real and feel real to you, and maybe even push away any type of thoughts you had about the subject matter to make her real?
Well, I had the privilege of actually getting to speak to reality. And so I was able to dive into who she was on a more personal level. And then I would take what I learned from my conversations with her, and I added that layer to the books that I create for my characters. And I just completely had more of like the groundwork of a person to be able to bounce thoughts and memories and just experiences off of. And I didn't know the story of reality before I got this, so I didn't have any previous knowledge or thoughts regarding it, and I just approached it as a real, like it was, a real experience that this woman went through.
But in finding out those things about her, did it create a bias in you immediately that you had to push away to fully embrace the story, or is it just, wow, this is incredible?
No, I approached it as a person's experience, and just it humanizes the entire situation.
For sure. Tina, for you, I was reading an interview you did, and you said when you read the story, you immediately thought, wow, this is something, and you took it into a play, and then you worked with your co-writer to adapt it. Did you have a sort of bias one way or the other? You don't have to say what it is, that you had to push away to create the art of it?
I really didn't. I mean, I think because literally almost the opposite, because reality seemed to hold so many dynamics and so many dichotomies of like her age and our time and the political moment and even just what it meant to be young and have different kinds of interests. That was what drew me to it, was that it was sort of this complicated young woman. And again, it was like Sid said, getting into who reality as a young person and a woman and her specific background was what was totally interesting to me. And so the bias thing didn't even really come into it. It was like, I really want to explore this really rich, real character. And I think there's something here with this content.
Sydney, I loved your portrayal, just particularly like just the cadence of having these conversations with these people. They popped up at your house. If we're unfamiliar with the story, we don't know why they're there either. So I'm leaning and I'm waiting for them to disclose why they are there. So how do you describe that emotion, because that just, they were trying to keep your character off foot and guessing. So how do you describe even that emotion of a situation like that?
It was almost as if it was a dance, and I couldn't tell if it was a terrible tango or or a good two-step. But it was truly just, you're trying to navigate all of the complexities of the weight of this situation, because at first she doesn't know what's going on, and then she's trying to navigate what is supposed to be said, what she's doing, who these people are, and having Josh and Marchand acting alongside of me, like that, they were so incredible in what they did and what they brought to the character, and being able to have actors who truly just dove into those agents, that really just brought my performance, I think, to a complete different level.
Tina, with doing this as a play and then growing into a film, how has this stretched you creatively? What new things have you learned about storytelling
I
that
mean,
you
so much, so much. They're just such different forms. And I think what was really exciting to me, I mean, when I first came upon the content, I was like, this could be a play and it could be a movie. It feels like a thriller that I would really want to see. And I think the way I made the play was really stark. It was just actors on stage, a really simple set, just saying this entire transcript. But in this case, I was so interested in that this had happened at this young woman's home, and she's in her car, and I had seen the pictures of reality's actual ephemera and life. So I was so excited to try to fill out her world within this one afternoon that way, and knew that filmically we could get to do that and really play more with subjectivity and close-ups. And I had just been like kind of aching to push further with what I could do in my storytelling on stage. I mean, I love the theater, but I just was craving a next step of it, and this material felt like the perfect way to dive into a movie and go closer to those things I was curious to explore with art making.
Sydney, do you remember the first thing you even asked her when you got to spend time with her? Did you have a whole grocery list of questions that you wanted to ask her when you finally got to be in front of her?
I did. I had quite a list of a lot of different questions and topics and just life moments that I wanted to discuss with her, but I'm going to keep my conversation with her private because it was just between her and I.
Lastly, I have to know, who asked her about her name first? I mean, that isn't quite a name for someone who does what she does, and I would have thought that was a fake name.
Yeah, early on in working on this content, I got to know her mother, Billie Winter Davis, who's really an exceptional and special person. And now Sid knows her too. And, she's been so supportive of our work, her mom has. And she was the one who told me that it's given at birth. Billie, the mom, got to choose the first daughter's name. And so then Reality's father got to choose the second daughter. And he said he wanted a real winner. And so he chose the name Reality Winner.
Wow. And she ended up being very brilliant too.
Yes.
Well,
yeah.
I thank you ladies for your time. Beautiful performance, Sydney. Great film.
Thank you.
I kind of knew about the story when it happened, but it was really refreshing to see it in this way. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it.
Take care.
Better shake your booties for black girl nerves. Better shake your booties for black girl nerves.